on the last episode of Chasing Cardboard.
Wow, this is incredible.
Oh my gosh. There's a Jackie 48 leaf.
So it wasn't the collection here, it was the collecting. It was actually going out and acquiring the thing, going to the shows, going to the flea markets, yard sales. And some of this stuff is just randomness.
Total randomness, yeah. We have a lot to digest tonight. I mean,
We do. We'll be up late talking tonight, and that's good.
John had an incredible eye for collecting. You could tell he was just one of those guys who knew what was cool.
The history of sports cards goes back over 100 years. We are on the pursuit to find the biggest and most interesting sports card collections across the United States. Join us as we travel the large interstates and the narrow unpaved roads in our journey to continue chasing cardboard.
All right, so it's late night here, Sunday. We just spent 5 hours, maybe longer, with Harlan and family. Where do you sit with things? Kind of what's your...
I feel like it's an amazing group of cards, right? We got to make the math work.
What's the holdup for you on the math? What do you think the biggest variable?
Grading costs.
Maybe we buy it. Probably not buy it. We actually think he wants to consign. We would love to buy it. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
And I think we could maybe come up with a number that would make sense to him, but I think he actually and the family wants us to consign it for him.
Yeah. Either you own it and you grade it and sell it, or you consign it, grade it and sell it. So work-wise, it doesn't change for us. It's the same amount of work.
Well, the amount of pressure changes.
Sure.
Right? You buy it outright, you do it on your own time. Right. When you do it in a consignment, you're doing it within the constraints of a 90-day, 120 days. And we know how fast 3 months or 4 months go by. Yeah, so take, for example, the mantle, right? You believe it's a $40,000 card in the PSA 1.
Yeah, and so when we have to look at all these cards, you have to assume a low grade and be, again, pleasantly surprised instead of massively disappointed. So if the mantle's a 1, might be a little higher, maybe a 1.5, maybe a 2 from what I saw. But if it's a 1, it's a $40,000 card.
I think tomorrow we need to feel out Harlan a little bit, see where he's at. You know, we're assuming a lot of things right now. We don't really know what they're thinking. You know, we could throw out any number we want. I don't even know if we agree on a number yet. I think we're pretty close to maybe somewhere in the $120,000, right into the 6-figure mark cash deal, but we don't think they're interested in a cash deal. Yeah. I don't think they're interested in a cash deal.
No.
If he wants us to do something with everything, then that changes the game for us completely.
And what does he want us to grade? Like, what do we think should be graded?
Okay, well, we have a lot to think about tonight in bed. You're tired. I'm tired.
Yeah. We have a long day tomorrow. We'll look at everything, really take some time, go through it, and present to Harlan kind of what we think.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right.
I like how we're just walking by signs.
Yeah, it's...
that American Pickers would be like...
I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure what the obsession with thermometers was, but just any kind of advertising.
I need to give this to one of my daughters. You ain't learning nothing when you're talking.
It's my kids too. This is what we call the museum. My friends always said if the world ever came to an end, they could come here and see how people lived when they were repopulating.
Oh my goodness.
All of these boxes contain trains. We'll come back. We'll do the non-train stuff. These roller coaster toys were my favorite. So all this is mostly toys and little train stuff. And, you know, random Pez dispenser. I think he thought if he collected as much as he could, some of it would become popular, a lot of it became...
Look at these things.
Yeah. And these are all toys. Were always a big thing. China set. Anything advertising was always big. I worked in a video store for 8 years, so Mama and Vader came from the video store.
Oh, nice.
This is the pinball machine. This is one of our favorites.
Does it turn on?
You know, I don't know. And I'm not sure that one was some kind of game too. I don't remember that one. But then anything with sports or...
Yeah.
Looks like Batman might be back there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so do you think about a lot of this stuff going to your house eventually? Like, is there certain things in here that are...
There are certain things. My kids had asked for the pinball machine because he asked us before, when we met, before he died. He said, you know, what do you want? What pick out, you know, I want you to have whatever you want, and then, you know, sell what you don't want. But yeah.
No.
Oh, he loved masks. There's a Beavis mask over there from Beavis.
It's not made for a big head.
You got 2 noses. You could not have over-exaggerated what was out here.
Yeah,
It's
I cigarette machine. I don't know where it came from. JT wants the giant Bud Light helmet for his.
Oh, there you go.
That was what he called dibs on. But then all this he has divided into categories like tops, and he loves circus trains, and everything you see
So this is all
in a box
trains.
is all trains.
Well, it's good to know the train boxes are the same as sports car
They are,
boxes.
yeah. And I think he would just put them together and then put them in there like long ways.
Oh, gotcha.
Then this was all circus. These ones are all circus. The Ferris wheel was one of my favorites too. Mostly first. He did label everything. I have to give him that. Everything has a typed label.
My face is starting to itch pretty good from that mask.
Yeah.
Try not to scratch it.
And we have the train lamps and paintings. And
You're right. End of world. You guys are set down there.
yeah, if we go,
Out here left.
yeah, this is all.
Oh, it's starting to look like a bookstore now too.
Oh yeah. Now there's Beavis.
The Lord giveth, the government taketh away. Where did he have the time for all
I
this?
have no idea.
Because he obviously spent
He
plenty of
worked-
time with you guys. He
He
talked
did.
about it. Where did he
did.
find the time for
I
this?
have no idea.
His thing was collecting, and just seeing him and just going to yard sales and train shows and toy shows and card shows. I kind of picked up on a lot of that knowledge, you know, through osmosis of just being around it and him telling the different stories. He'd hold up a card and say, you know, this is the #1 card in the 1953 set, and that's the reason it's valuable is because the kids put the gum bands around it and that kind of stuff. He would just tell you, you know, everything he knew. He was a lot like Mike in a lot of ways, honestly, where he just wanted to, you know, spread that. He wanted to infect the next generation of collectors, I think.
That's a real elephant
Yeah,
foot?
you can take it down. I have no idea where that came from. It's probably illegal to have.
Yeah.
It's been here for as long as I can remember. It's creepy.
I think there's some health benefits if we grind that up and make a tea out of it or something.
These are all, behind this wall is all 45s.
My goodness.
Those are all albums, yeah. And if you look back in the middle,
Let's see.
the sparkly drum
Music
set
equipment,
was
yeah.
his when he played drums.
Oh.
The 1966 Charger belonged to my grandfather. He bought it right off the line in 1966, which unfortunately you can't see right now. Someday, I hope to redo it.
I'm Jeremy Macklin here. Mizzou Tiger. Anytime you can find a Mizzou Tiger. Did you hear that? That is the sound of cards selling on eBay. Every second, 2 trading cards are sold on eBay, the largest online marketplace in the world. For those who don't know, we have been huge advocates of eBay and sellers on eBay for over 20 years, and we are excited about what they're doing with their newest innovation, the eBay Vault. 24/7, 365, full temperature controlled, 100% secure, you name it, eBay is doing it in the Vault. Those physical cards that we hold in our hands, and you can transact 100% digitally. Okay, I know what you're thinking. You want to have that card in your hand. You want to be able to show your friends and your family. You want to pull it out of your collection. That's what collecting is all about. That's the roots of the hobby. And I totally agree with you. But if you are a seller or you're somebody that thinks you might be moving cards in the marketplace, the eBay Vault makes perfect sense. It's one of the only ways that I can reduce my cost exposure and also accelerate my transaction times. You got no sales tax, you got no storage fees, you have no seller fees, you have no shipping fees. So next time you purchase a card on eBay and you're feeling like you want to keep that card in the eBay ecosystem, make it really easy for you, frictionless, use the eBay Vault. Learn more by clicking the link in the top right corner or the link in the show notes. I promise you, you're gonna love what you see with eBay Vault. Go give it a try.
Let's get back to the show.
The baseball cards were one thing that I didn't participate in as much as I did the trains and the records. but I know they meant a lot to him, and he thought of it as an investment. John always said that, and I know he told the girls this in later years, and both of us agreed on this, the fun was not in having the collection, be it this or whatever collection. The fun was in finding it and all the things we did to, while we were amassing the collections. That's what we remember. I mean, now, yeah, he wanted all these cards, but in later years, it wasn't important to him. It was the memories we had, like the memories he had of the girls being with him and doing things.
These cards are simply a gateway to memories for us, right?
Exactly, yes.
They remind us of a time. I remember when I got this. I remember what we were doing when I got that. And that's the key. That's the thing that's everlasting. The cards will, come and go, but I'm glad y'all are keeping some of them as a memory to continue to be that gateway to John.
So set aside the cards for a moment. What did you love most about John?
I think that he treated everybody nicely.
My dad probably left with me one of the biggest things in life was just showing respect to others, and you can earn their respect back. And I was a teacher as well, so I guess I took most of that, and I saw the respect that he got, and so that was one of the big things for me.
When he did pass, the funeral was, you saw how important he was to people. Like there was people lined up out the doors to just come pay their respect. Like, I didn't realize how important and how much of a big guy he was until, that was the eye opener. Like, a lot of people truly cared about him, and he touched a lot of people.
He definitely taught you, kind of the treat others as you want to be treated, and, treat everybody the same, and just kind of, really taught us the value of things, and just was a really good family man and a great dad and grandpa.
John Newborough played a very important role in a lot of people's lives.
I have a question for you guys. If you think about if he stopped in 95 collecting cards or accumulating cards, right? You never stop being a collector if you have cards. Like, you're still a collector, right? But my question is, do you think he knew how much these were worth? Was he keeping up with that? Did he have any idea? Like, would he be surprised if we sat down and went, that's worth this is worth that? Do you think he'd be surprised
He'd
at
be
that?
shocked.
I think it would be.
Yeah, because, and we had a little taste of that with the Fleer sets. With, my son going, yeah, they just sold a Michael Jordan PSA 10 for $700,000. And he's like, well, I've got that card out in the garage. And we go out and it's in a box, inside of a tomato box on the floor in the garage. He used to say that he was a millionaire because he could walk you through his house and point to 1,000 things worth at least $1,000. And he's like 1,000 times 1,000's a million.
I really wish John was still here because, first of all, I think he and I would have gotten along great. And I would really love to hear some of the stories of where these cards came from, the story behind them, who he bought them from, you name it. It would be so great.
You've worked a lot on this.
Yes, he has.
And I guess it's a question for you too, Kathy. I mean, if you could paint the perfect scenario, what happens from here?
It goes. I mean, we sell it. We get it back out. It really is. So, we have a bunch of collections to deal with, as you've seen. And they're taking up a lot of space in her house. Actually, the ball cards are probably the least bulky of them, but the interest in selling those is that I have some little bit of knowledge here. And they were kind of the easiest thing. And, they went through this little boom cycle here where there's some value obviously gained recently. So our objective is to get them back out into the hobby, whether...
I'd like to see them go to people that appreciate them.
Right.
And that will do like you do, sit here and ooh and ah at a specific card. he never really did that.
You didn't pull them out.
No, he didn't pull them out. They were there, and he was like that with the trains too. He knew they were there, and that's all that was important to him. It was on to the next thing.
Are you looking for a new way to buy sports cards, something a little more exciting? Well, go try something called Loop. Loop is an online marketplace dedicated to sports cards where you can buy sports card slabs, you can buy singles, you can buy packs or breaks, all of it on one app, one website called Loop. Stop being boring. Go try Loop. And the best part is you get $30 if you click the top right corner and use the Chasing Cardboard link. It is an awesome experience. I guarantee you're going to love it.
Now, back to the show.
To us, this is kind of the tale of two collections. You've got this stuff, and then you've got all this stuff. The bulk, right? Two different things. And we sat up and we worked on this last night because we're like, okay, I thumbed through the binders, but I didn't like really go through the binders, and y'all thumbed through the other ones, right? This stuff we were able to go, hey, let's put together a list of some of the cards that we remember, some of the cards we had on film that we were thumbing through and we assumed PSA 1 on everything.
Okay.
What do you think it's worth?
Yeah.
What do you think this is worth?
Just on the
It's on
table?
the table.
I don't know. I mean, I know I'm going to guess $200,000 on the table. Is that right?
Pretty close.
Is it?
We were somewhere between 150 and 250.
Okay.
Yeah.
My guess on all of it is somewhere around 500,000, and I don't know if that's right or not, but I that's my guess, and that was my guess to her when we started all this. I don't know what some things will grade. I know that sometimes if you get the right grade on a card, it could bump it by $100,000. I don't know that we have any of those because of the condition that most of them are in. But they're all not ones either. So
100%. We had a dilemma, I think.
We did.
Because we're thinking, okay, we can maximize your value.
This is easy for us.
We can take this and make it 300,000. We really believe that.
Okay.
It's the stuff in the binders we're thinking, man, that's going to be a lot of work. A lot of work. And we're not opposed to it.
Did you sleeve all these up yourself?
I did.
How long did it take you to do that?
A long time.
Yeah. And this is only one binder is everything on this table.
You're right. I mean, that's work. So my question to you is, how do you want to handle that work? Yeah. Do you want to go through there and pull out the Mantles and the Mazes and the Robinsons? Because there's a lot of those that are still in those binders. They're not all pulled, as you know from looking through it last night. And figure out what's graded, and then how do we get
two options?
Okay.
Because this is not the stuff you just bulk up and send somewhere. This is good enough stuff to where you need to put the time into it. So our thought is we do one of two things. One, we consign all of this really good stuff.
Okay.
Because it's going to take us time. We're going to probably sell it to dealers that we know, guys, and try to keep away from putting it on eBay and things like that.
Okay.
Because a lot of it's going to be $10,000 plus cards.
Right.
Consign this, and if you want us to consign this, we have to increase the percentage on this for the work.
That's the work.
Like add 10% or something so we can cover ourselves all the time, or we just find a way to buy all the rest of the stuff.
Okay.
Come up with a price and say we'll just pay for it, so that way we're not
under a gun. Then we can, because we're going to resell it, but we would do it at our pace, but give you cash now. And the market is softening. You're seeing that, right? And so it's kind of, this stuff is high priority because we want to still hit it. We have a recession coming, right? If it's not already here. And so, wow, let's get this stuff running. This other stuff is great stuff. It's just a lot of work to put into it.
Yeah.
Go.
If I was to guess what this stuff would sell for if we pieced it out, 50 to 60,000.
But I mean, there's probably $5,000 Mantle cards in some of that stuff. Yeah. You still think it's only 50 to 60,000 for the rest of it?
We were going back and forth. It's just
we haven't seen everything, right? I mean, I'm not.
So
you've got a ton of $100 bills, $200 bills, $50 bills, right? And those do add up,
right?
But after you grade it, because you have to grade it, and right?
Wow.
Well, you don't have to. I'm just saying. There's value in grading it. You're going to add more than the cost of grading to the value of the end card. It's just time. It's just doing it. It's putting together the submission.
We're happy to do it, but if that's not something you want to do, we thought, well, let's just come up with a cash offer to make it doable for you with this stuff, and then consign this stuff.
The money is to go into a trust. It's not for living expenses, unless she gets to a point where she needs it or whatever.
But the need is not great right now.
Yeah.
I know how much time it takes to do these things.
Yeah.
But,
No doubt.
Yeah. Well, if time is not an issue,
It's not.
then consigning all of it, just different fees, is probably the best way to maximize your value.
That's fair.
And it takes the stress off of us a little bit too.
Yeah. So,
Because we're going to take our time with this, but we're going to try to get it done quick.
Right.
But we also know we're getting rewarded to put the time into it.
Right.
So over the last few months, we've started to really pick up some steam with our consignment opportunities. And I think a reason for that is there's a lot of fluctuation in the sports card market right now. People we're dealing with, they want to maximize the value of their collections. And one of the best ways of doing that is consigning. And so I'm glad we're able to do that right now. We're in the flow of consigning and we're adding a lot of value to these.
Yeah, and what I think other people are also realizing is how much work goes into selling a collection. And they're like, I may even know about cards, I may not. I don't want to do the hours and hours of work that it takes to make this happen.
I think if we can leave here with knowing the cards you're going to grade and sell, so we know what that is going to be, and then the rest of it you can sell over time.
Which these we want to take with us.
Okay.
We don't want these mailed, I don't think.
No.
Okay.
You don't want them mailed.
We're gonna we're gonna be on us all the time.
So here's another thing we were thinking
I wondered
through.
about that. I figured
These can't get mailed.
We're gonna actually probably fly these. I'm gonna fly these personally to PSA for you.
Okay.
I'm gonna hand deliver them.
I saw Mike talk about that in a video once, and I'm like, he's got to be crazy.
If you think about the value, what it would cost us to ship it, insure it properly, the plane ticket's the same cost.
Or cheaper, yeah.
Or cheaper.
So game plan would be, let's build a spreadsheet, build 2 boxes of all the stuff that we're taking with us.
Okay.
The rest of the stuff, let's get ready to put on a pallet.
Okay.
We also have some cards we want to buy directly for ourselves.
Okay. We can do that.
I think we'll put together some personal stacks of some things, and then we can negotiate that individually with you guys.
Sure.
So we got a lot of work to do. Sounds like we got a good game plan. We're all in agreement this will work.
Yeah.
Can we get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right.
I've been very impressed with how things have gone.
Interaction with my kids
So
was great.
far.
Mike was on the floor flipping through cards and teaching them things. They were learning.
We're in Berkeley Springs trying to actually get something shipped, and we need a pallet. And we're curious if we can somehow get a pallet from your warehouse. So with the pallet, we're gonna load the cards up that aren't tier 1, and we're gonna ship those up to our warehouse to start getting consigned and inventoried and all that stuff. But this is not stuff you can put in a UPS box and ship. You have to put it on a pallet, shrink wrap it, and do it the right way, or it's just gonna be too economically unfeasible. All right, possibility at Food Lion to go get a pallet today. So maybe we solved our problem for the pallets.
So Ty's going through 61 Fleer basketball. I'm going through 4950 Bowman. We're getting through a lot of these binders, the 100 plus. We're probably 90% done, honestly. So looking through all this stuff, one of the coolest things in John's collection was this Mickey Mantle. And at first glance, you would think exhibits card looks just like a traditional exhibits card for Mickey Mantle, but when you turn it over on the back, it's from Dad's Cookies, which is a Canadian cookie company. All of them, actually, you can see down here, are stapled. They have staple marks on them. So they're an automatic PSA 1, but they still go for $10,000 to $15,000.
All right, so as I'm going through these boxes, one thing Harlan mentioned was that John really never got caught up in the conditions of cards, and so don't expect to see really good condition cards. But I disagree. Some of these cards were actually in really good conditions, and the best part is he had so many different eras in basketball that sucked me right into the rabbit hole, and I just couldn't stop looking through and imagining putting some of these cards in my own collection.
Are you interested in any of these incredible cards? Well, good news. We have weekly live auctions on Loop and a very active eBay store with all of these goodies. The links for both are in the show notes below.
This has been just so much fun to sit here. Ty's just mesmerized with the 61 Fleer basketball. He's just having too much fun over there. Aren't you, Ty?
Yes, I'm very mesmerized.
It's that. So this would have been a kid would have written to the Babe Ruth fan club or joined the Babe Ruth fan club.
Right.
And he would have received a cool 8x10, a super cool envelope. God, imagine you're a kid and you get that in the mail and you see that, you're like, oh my gosh, how cool is that?
So we are going through the garage now. We're taking all these binders out, we're pulling them out and just deciding if we want to put it in grade category or pallet category to get back and start consigning. But there's just endless amounts of binders here, and I mean stuff that we're pulling out. I mean, here's a matchbook, you know, covers, just old school early 1900s matchbooks. So like we've seen plenty of Batman cards in our journeys in the 66 Batman set, if it's even in here. They had 3 colors on the Batman emblem, and the black is the highly sought after one. Card number 1 is the Batman rookie. Look at that. Oh my gosh. That is incredible. Right stinking there. It just seems like John had really good instincts for collecting. Like the things that he's putting in binders and the things that he has a knack for is really valuable stuff. This is the type of stuff where, I mean, there's guys that are like specialize in this. They specialize in these very unique niches in collectibles, and we don't have that depth. So we have to, if we take them with us, we have to get experts involved to make sure that we're maximizing value for the family. Just the Babe Ruth was supposed to go there. So that's been taken out. But the Queen Elizabeth is a pretty popular card right now if it's in here. Boom. Look at that. Early 50s, 52, 53, whenever this is, Queen Elizabeth. Look and see card. So right now we are inventorying, putting a manifest together for Harlan and family that includes every card on the table, which is basically every card we think is going to be $500 or more graded, with potential grades and raw values.
Great card here, 1951 Bowman, Willie Mays rookie.
One of my favorites.
Card number 305. I think it's a 1.
Yeah, it's a 1.
You going with a 1?
Yeah.
It's clean though.
What does this go for? What are we at? 5? You're at a 1.
I got it. Here's the last one. It sold for $5,400. And that one looks better than that, for sure.
What would you...
Are you wanting to buy that?
I'm actually thinking about buying it. I've always wanted the Maze rookie. What would you sell this for?
$4,000.
You sell for $4,000 to me?
Yeah.
$4,000.
$4,000.
Done.
Thanks, Tom.
Wow, great card. That is awesome.
That is the most impulse buy of all. It's like grocery store aisle. Willie Mays is sitting there.
The card's been on the table the entire time, and finally, as you get ready to put it in the box, you're like, I think I might want that.
Come on, Willie Mays rookie.
When we were doing these last night, I've gone through here, like this Bob Feller 53 Topps autographed. Really cool card. I collect Hall of Fame autographs on card. So this is a great card for my collection. We looked it up earlier. You know, the last one sold for $240. I'd do $200 on it. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, I think so. Then there's just a ton of Leo DeRocher and Red Sheen-Dienst and just, I mean, great stuff. I'd feel very comfortable giving you $50 for this and not batting an eye. I just want it for my collection. I think it's an interesting pre-war, during the war, right? During World War II,
right?
Topps chewing gum, pre-cards, right. Really.
So with the Feller and the
Top certificate
and this
and all that stack, 800?
Like 800?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even?
Sure.
All right. Done.
I really only came up with 2 things that I really, really want. Some of the stuff that's going to grade, I'd probably just say, hey, can I buy this off now that it's graded? First is this Pete Maravich rookie. I have one, but it's just iconic and I want another one, so I don't know what you're willing to do on that. I think it'll come back a 4. But my favorite item out of anything I've seen today, outside of some cool signs downstairs, is this root beer poster that I want to put in the man cave that I'm redoing. It's just the sign.
That is a $40,000 sign.
I can't slip anything by you.
Yeah,
Come on, Harlan.
Sorry.
All right, so we're wrapping up here. We've got items that we're taking on the plane with us. We got a whole pallet wrapped up, ready to be shipped back to our warehouse. And we're gonna be taking a lot of these high dollar cards to get graded. And because of the value of a lot of these cards and the stress that I don't wanna deal with losing sleep at night, we're gonna be hand delivering them to get graded. I can't wait for you to see that part of the adventure.
I think John would have loved this whole process up to the point where the cards left on the pallet. I think he might not have been too thrilled by that, but I think he would have really enjoyed talking to the guys and looking at the cards with them and just the camaraderie, because that's one of the things he really liked about the whole collecting thing was the people that he met and the friends he made along the way.
So I'm carrying Mickey Mantle rookie, exhibit Bruce, some big league 33 Gaudy stuff. I've never actually held this much money, sports cards in my hand at one time. Andrew, what's up?
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing us in today, man. Appreciate it.
No problem, of course.
Where are you gonna take us? What are we doing
I'm going to take you to the new dealer lobby. It actually opened last week,
Okay.
and that's where we're taking people in for submissions.
Look forward to it.
It's pretty
Josh?
cool. It's a lot better.
Nice to meet you, Ty. So how does this work? Do we sit here? You guys check
wherever
things?
you want. Yeah, let's see what you got.
I tried to make this as if I was sending it in.
Yeah. So yeah, basically all we're doing is just making sure that this looks right.
Yeah.
They're not giant submissions, so. Oh wow. I never seen this one before.
Wow. Okay. So how often are you getting high-end submissions like this?
1 to 2 times a month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's rarer than I thought.
Yeah.
But all it's not always vintage too. Like sometimes they're high-end submissions, but it's nothing. It's all like cars from 2020. Like.
Okay. So high-end vintage is
Yeah, it doesn't happen a
rare.
lot.
Okay. So after this stage, it goes into what? Prep stage, or what's the process?
Yeah.
from here?
So after this, we'll take it to receiving, which is basically just entering in all the info and creating now an order number from this submission.
Okay.
After that, it's gonna go to research, which is just confirming that the spec is right, or if we even have the specs. After specs, then it will go to grading. These are awesome.
I think so too.
Where'd you get these ones from, like 1922?
So we got them from a collection in West Virginia where a guy had been buying these for 30, 40 years and then he passed away, and the kids were like, hey, look at these. All right, so we're done. We dropped off our cards. I feel better knowing that the cards are here. I know people that we've been working with in collections, Harlan and crew, their families probably feel better now too. What a great experience. PSA took care of us. Collectors Universe team came around and kind of walked us through the process, and it was a really neat experience, and I'm glad to know that they're in good hands. We might come back and see what these grades are here in a few weeks. I'm looking forward to that.
After a long but eventful 48 hours in Berkeley Springs, we left with a one-of-a-kind collection. But more importantly, we were impacted by a gentleman who treated his sports cards as an opportunity to spark friendships and create opportunities. In a hobby that can sometimes be frustrating, confusing, and even discouraging, hopefully we can learn from John's example and allow sports cards to be a gateway to incredible memories. Keep chasing.